There's a new version of Virtual Belfry 3.11 that's been released. In this video we're going to have a quick look at what's new in the version, and you can then make an informed decision of whether you want to upgrade, but as usual there's lots of things in there which I'm sure will be advantageous to improve your ringing. So let's get started. How can we find out which version of Virtual Belfry you're on? Simply go to Help and About, and the version number is displayed there at the top. So if you haven't got version 3.11, you can go to the Belfryware website, download and install it. I would always recommend that you do take a backup of your settings and also any saved files. However, I have installed this and reinstalled it several times, and none of my settings or previous recordings of ringing have been lost. So first of all, let's have a look at what's new. So if we go to, again, up to Help and we look at the contents, you will find that there is a complete section on what's new. You can see it here, and these are the changes that we made. We'll go through these one by one. First of all, there has been a change to the license conditions. Now, you don't generally need to worry about this unless you're doing something that you shouldn't be with the program. So the main changes are how you can license multiple versions, but you can have a read through those. So next we have rows on the blue line window. After ringing has been finished, you can now find the numbers of which rows are there, and it's also highlighting rounds for you. So if we look at the blue line, I've just done a small piece of ringing here. You can see that we have a new yellow marker here which indicates rounds for you, and as you go down you would find another one, so these yellow markers appear. If you want to have row numbers, you simply go to the left hand side and click the screen. You can see that they're here. If you want to get rid of them because you don't want to see them, then just double click on them and they'll disappear. So single click, there they are. So you can go down and actually specifically look at a particular row and identify it as such. So that's the row shown on the blue line window, and also the new occurrences of rounds, so rounds being highlighted. So if you think something came round in a piece of ringing and you've got that as a reference point, you can quickly find it. The changes within the ropes window when you're ringing call changes, you can now have a call change simply by clicking on a ringer. It will then call up or down the change, but it will be the change that is specifically related to the ringer that you've touched. This is for touchscreens. So if you have a touchscreen in your on your simulator, you can go and touch the ringer that you want to actually move in the next change. You can also obviously do it with your mouse, same thing. You can also click the buttons, or if you want to as well, you can click on the number in the places window and it will do exactly the same thing. So manual call changes, those are the new things in version 3.11. Now, I'm sure you're all aware of, in the ropes window, you have the flashes and you have when passing the treble. There's been a change in this version, so from version 3.11 onwards, you will only get the flash when you pass the treble, when you meet it on its way down. So when it's on its way down to the front, that's when you'll get the flash. You won't get it when it's on its way up to the back. A new change in this version. We then have a change to solo go. So if you're using the solo go function, so if solo go is checked and you click the go button, it will start the ringing. It will then wait until it sees a number of times that you have actually rung your bell or hit the key on the keyboard, and then it will automatically start. If you go to the settings menu, you will see at the top of here There is return to rounds if you've stood the bell. So if things aren't quite right, you want to go back to rounds. Instead of having a foot pedal and using that to go back to rounds, you can just wait, and as soon as it detects that you're no longer ringing, it will go back to rounds. You can then start again. So that's a small change to solo go mode. The next changes are to do with when you are editing methods or compositions. If you select a method within here, so if we go and select plain bob doubles, if I hit X on the keyboard, I will get the editor, the method editor for plain bob doubles, and I can make changes in here and then resave it. If I am in a composition, so if we go to plain bob doubles and we look at a composition and I click X on the keyboard, I then will go to the composition editor, and in here you can see I've got bob plain, bob plain, bob plain. You can then make a change to it, save it. So if you're editing a composition or editing a method, you can quickly go forwards and backwards into those two editors. It used to be you could only do that with compositions. You couldn't do it with methods themselves. So that's new in this version. There has been a few changes to the sensors and switches dialog. So if we go and look at the sensors and we go to the configuration screen, you now have the option to copy a particular setting. So if you set up a new one and you click copy, you can make a number of copies of that. So when you're originally setting up, if you need to set up 10 or 12 bells, this can save you a lot of time, as you'll get a copy. You just have to then change the signal and the amount of time that you wait before the bell strikes. You also have options here to shift them up and down. So if you need to actually move a particular bell, so if you put a new one in, it will always be put at the end. If that happened to be a smaller bell, you can then easily shift it up. And this list obviously matches the list that you have on the main screen, on the settings screen, no, on the sensor screen. That's the sensor screen. It matches this order, so if you want to reorder these, you can. So what else have we got? Switching focus between multiple bells. If you're using multiple user bells and you want to shift the focus as you're ringing to a different bell, you can no longer do that. All right, that's to do with obviously the manual call changes, clicking and tapping on the ringer when you're in the ropes menu to do a call. All these things are interlinked, and unfortunately that's one of the things that's had to be lost as a trade-off for the new functionality for the touchscreens while you're doing manual call changes. A few bugs have been fixed. There was a problem with the view control panel when you're doing full screen during ringing. That's been fixed. If you managed to, or if you needed to separate every window, so you select all of them so that they are all separate windows so you can position them on the screen, that used to actually cause a problem with the program, and it used to crash. So we no longer have that problem. That has been fixed. So if we just put these back, there we go, back to as we should be in normal. And the final bug fix in the edit composition dialog. So if we go back to the main menu and we go into this particular composition by using the X button, there always used to have to be a value in here unless you were doing a random splice composition where you would just have a list of methods that you would leave the composition blank, and then when you actually use that composition it would randomly change the methods for you. If you're not doing that, you used to have to still have an element of information within the main window of the composition, you no longer have to do that. So those are the changes in 3.11. I say I've had no problems at all with it. I've been using it for a few weeks now and not had an issue. Installation is simply a case of use the standard default hands-free installation, and it will just install it for you quite happily. So there you go. Hope that's been useful. Quick view of version 3.1. www.belfryware.com is where you need to go to get the update file. And of course, if you want to download and have a trial copy to see what you can do with Virtual Belfry, it's also where you can go for that. Hope that's been useful. Thanks for listening. See you all soon.